Hi, welcome back to Jumpstart Code. I want to do an example here, a coding example to show you more about how to use float. And I want to start with showing you what the end product is, what I want to do. So you'll see here this page that has these three boxes that, maybe this is for a website where you have different services and you want to have a description of them there. And then you've got some other text underneath. You'll also notice that this is basically kind of a responsive layout because depending on the size of the page, the boxes are adjusting. So there are a lot of pieces going on here, and I want to kind of go through it a little bit of step by step. So I have actually opened up, I'm actually using VS Code here now, and all I have to start is this page that has nothing in the body, and I have a style sheet with just a color, a background color. So we're going to start with the body, and I want to start with, so let's look at our page again that we're trying to do. That would be this. So I've got a header that says services, right? So we're just going to make that an H1 services. All right, now these three boxes, I'm going to use the idea of a div. A div is an element, an HTML element that just allows you to group things together in a box. And so I actually already have this code set up. I'm going to copy it over here. So I'm going to set up a div. Just again, think of a div as a box. I'm giving it a class because I'm going to have to apply some CSS styling to it. And inside of the box, I have an H3, which is going to be the title, and then a paragraph, which is going to be the description. So those things are sort of encapsulated together. So if I save this and I look at my page again, my page has been refreshed. We will see this. All right. Now, actually, I want to, yeah, so this is opened in Live Server. All right, so there's just one. Okay. Let me put, so we're going to have three of these boxes. So I am going to copy and paste this code 3 times. And this one is going to be service 2. And this one is going to be service 3. Right? Let's save. And my page updated to look like this. Now, this is not at all what I want. I want them to go side by side. And so what we need to do is apply some styling here. And we're going to use float to move these things over. So you notice that I've given them all the same class. That's going to make it easy for me to style them all the same. So I'm going to go into styles and set a style for the service class. And I'm going to say float left. And look at what happened. Now, to make it just a little easier to see the boxes, let's put a border on these as well. So I'm going to put a border, 1 pixel, solid gray. We'll save. And here's what we see. Now, this is not behaving in any kind of responsive manner right now. We still have some more work to do to make that happen. What we need to do to make that happen is to assign a width to these boxes. Right now, the width is basically determined by the text that's in there. So I'll show you if I add some more text to this one, for example, then do you see how that box grew? Because the width is being based on the text that's actually in there. If I want to control the width, then I need to apply some styling. So to my service class, I will say width, and for example, I'm going to start off, let me just say 200 pixels. Right? So you can see what I have now. So that's about 200 pixels. They're all the same size. But again, that is not going to help me in terms of making it responsive. So what we need to do is use percentages instead of absolutes. So if I've got 3, you know, that's roughly 30% each, right? So we'll change the width to 30%, and you see what I now have, right? Now, it's not quite what I want. What I need to do is let's apply some margin and some padding here. So margin is outside of the box. And if we do that in terms of percentages as well, that will be useful. Padding 1%, right? Now, I got that. Now, the problem is that's actually adding up to more than 100%. I need to bring this one down a little bit. Let me make this 28%. So you often have to do a little bit of trial and error when you are sorting this out. So you can see now, this is what I have. I've got my 3 boxes that are roughly 33, you know, a third each. I use 28. I think I can actually use 29, and it will be closer to what I actually want. So let's see how that looks when I change it to 29. And yeah, that looks much better in terms of what I want, right? All right, so that looks like, so if we look at, here's what I was trying to do. So we've got that part. If I want to shade those boxes, that's just a matter of adding a background color to these boxes. Light gray. And we have this, okay? But now we want to put some text underneath. So let's go look at, let's add some text underneath this. And I'm just grabbing a paragraph of just lorem ipsum text. And I'm going to put it underneath this div, right? I'm going to just make this so we can see it all here. So this is just text that I have grabbed from somewhere, right? So let's save and look at what happens here. And that text, but notice as I change the size, there's an effect happening that's not what I want, right? If I'm at a certain perfect size here, then I'm seeing that text underneath, but when I'm at some smaller sizes, you can see this text is trying to wrap in there. So we need to basically kind of draw a line underneath these boxes to make sure that we start fresh on the line underneath it. And that's going to require a little bit more code here. So first of all, what I actually want to do is put a box, a div around all 3 of these boxes. It's going to make it easier for me to apply my formatting if I do that. So I'm going to go in here and I am going to put a div ID equals, this is my top section, so that's why I'm calling it top. And I don't want it to close there. I want it to close here. So let me kind of adjust my indenting here so you can see what I've got. So this is top. So all of these divs, I'm going to tab over, right? So this is a container that has these 3 containers inside of it. Then what I need to do is apply some CSS that is sometimes a little hard to understand, but it's kind of a pattern that you learn when you're doing CSS. So I'm going to apply some CSS to the div that has this ID of top. And the colon after is called a pseudo selector. So it's saying, I want you to put something after that particular element. Now I'm going to take these out for a second to show you. And I'm just going to put hello here. Okay, so we can kind of understand what's going on. So do you see here this word hello? So it's showing you I've actually sort of injected kind of a pseudo element in here right after those boxes. Now, I don't actually want the content, so we're going to make the content empty. But what's important is I want to make this a block element, and I want to apply clear. Clear will tell me to clear any floats that are going on right now and basically start fresh, start my flow of my layout fresh underneath there. So look, now that I have done that, even when I make it smaller, now this has more content here, but you can see that this text is always starting underneath. Now if I make this really too small, then it makes it a little difficult, but we've got this text now that is underneath all of that. And you know, if I wanted to put a border or a background around this entire thing, then I could apply some styling to top. Let's give it a border of 2 pixels solid black. Right? So we can see that that is that element, and then we've got text that continues underneath that. So, you know, the important concepts here had to do with using float and also using percentages to specify the size of these boxes. And then in order to get our flow back, sort of stop the floating, we had to use this. We needed to select an element, so that's why I wanted to put all of that top section inside of a div by itself so that I could kind of group it together and apply this clear after that section. So applying the clear after that section means that I can just continue whatever I want after that. If I wanted to put a header here, new section. So anything that is after that will start a new section, right? So that's some very useful tips about how to use float, how to use this clear in order to do your formatting.